let me put my headphones.
Okay.
Okay, is this better? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good. This is actually my first interview that I've ever done, so I'm kind of
Yay.
excited.
Okay, it's with me. I'm happy. And I want to start by just saying I'm happy that young people are getting more motivated and involved in becoming part of the political process because every decision, I mean, many of the decisions that are made in government affect young people too. There's decisions made, state government, local government, that are affecting them in many ways. It may be affecting the type of places that they can have, recreation places that they can have here or social places, but even opportunities for jobs. Um, those decisions are made usually on a local basis. I became involved in politics when I was in high school. And
Wow.
that's where it started for me. I ran for the president of my freshman class to be on the student council. And I ran against a good friend of mine. She's actually on my campaign committee now. And she was the daughter of a speech coach at Bradley. He was one of the best. And her name is Kim. And so Kim and I were both running for the president of the freshman class at Manual High School. And I didn't even think about having a speech ready. And she had a speech all written out, probably had practiced it with her dad and mom. And, it was a great speech. So I'm sitting out there in the audience and she was first, right? And then I'm thinking, I'm next because it's just the two of us. What am I going to say? I didn't prepare anything. So, it's about knowing your audience, right? These are freshmen. So I got up and I started talking about better food in the cafeteria. I started talking about more time, for social breaks, to be able to play cards or whatever. And then I said, in order to get up, we got to get down. And they were like, yay, yay. And, I was just speaking their language and, they were like, rah, rah. And then they elected me. I really started in high school in terms of being an activist. When I was in high school, girls could not take the same classes as boys. We could not take industrial arts classes. We could not take mechanical drawing, architectural drawing, automotive, none of that. That was for boys, right? Traditional male type courses. And that didn't sit well with me. So I organized the girls and boys, the students, to fight against it. And we started with the principal and we took it all the way and we won. And the next semester, girls could take the same classes as boys. The problem was that no girls signed up. So as the ringleader, I thought, well, I got to take at least one course. So I took mechanical drawing. But yeah, so that's where I kind of got started with my leadership. Also served on some community boards while in high school. I was the first youth to serve on the Police Community Relations Commission. And I was the first and only youth to serve on the Community Action Board. And I was 14 years old.
Wow.
I was getting my voice, early on in life in being a volunteer or being active. And it really has carried over, into my adult life.
So basically, I was wondering if you have any specific initiatives encouraging young people or young families to move to Peoria. And this could include so many different things, whether it's economic benefits, community attractions, or educational opportunities. So it's really kind of a broad question.
Okay, used to attract young people to the area. Well, one of them is Amtrak passenger rail. So Peoria doesn't have Amtrak services here. We have to drive to Bloomington or to Galesburg or other cities to have access to Chicago or St. Louis or Memphis, via Amtrak, but we don't have it. So that's one. Transportation is really important as an attraction to cities. So that's one thing that I want to do, because I think that people, especially young people, like to get away and go somewhere just for, you can go up for a day
Yeah.
and maybe take a boat ride, you know, on the river in Chicago, and then, you know, go to some event, concerts, and come back the same day or stay all night. So that's one thing that I want to do. The other is to attract more information technology companies. I think that Peoria can be a hub for IT companies, and that usually attracts a lot of young people that have those type of skills. Facebook became attracted to Des Moines, Iowa, because Des Moines, Iowa had the workforce that Facebook was looking for. They had a lot of young people with computer skills or computer interests. They, you know, also had computer training, software development, or hardware type of training for residents there. And so Facebook set up shop and hired hundreds of people. And then other IT companies, just like car dealerships, you get one in one area, then others start to come, and next thing you have auto row, right? So that's what's happening in Des Moines. Is there's lots of other IT companies coming there because they have a workforce, and that's what companies look for. So the same with healthcare. We have a lot of healthcare jobs here, and we have a lot of healthcare jobs that are not even filled because we don't have enough people with the skills to take those jobs. So I want to provide more training opportunities for people to get the skills needed to get these jobs, because they're great jobs, they pay great salaries. And, you know, education, job training, workforce training, those are all the areas that I have a lot of experience with. So I want to use those talents to help to bring more opportunity to Peoria.
Oh, and then to go off of your last point about training opportunities specifically for jobs, I was wondering what your thoughts on the Peoria Promise initiative was.
The Peoria Promise started with Illinois Central College. The students would come from Peoria, mostly public schools, and they would get an opportunity to go to college without having to pay tuition. And then I think over time, some of the fundraising was a challenge. And so it kind of limited the number of scholarships that they could provide. And I think it's kind of serving a different population than what it had originally intended to serve. It was intended kind of for more of the lower income, but now I think it's serving more, I would say, middle income students. Yeah, I think it can be strengthened. I think it should be reevaluated. I would like to see Peoria Promise provide perhaps funding for students who are high school students who want to take dual credit or dual degree programs and can't afford to do it, and possibly even graduate from high school and college at the same time with an associate degree. So by the time they finish high school, they can just go to a 4-year university for 2 years and be done, you know, and really put fast track their college education.
Next question I had, it kind of goes back to the economic opportunities in Peoria. And it was basically in the past year, retail stores like Hollister and H&M have left Peoria. And traditionally, these stores have employed teenagers, including myself, who used to work for Hollister for a little bit. But I was wondering if you have plans to attract those type of businesses back to Peoria, or any thoughts on teenage employment?
Yes, I do. You know, I ran a lot of teenage employment programs years ago when I worked for the Central Illinois Private Industry Council. And I just believe in really giving young people a great first experience in terms of their first and second jobs in the labor market. And even when they're in high school, having summer job opportunities available for them. And I know, you know, we shouldn't have to go to Chicago or Champaign or Bloomington, some of these other cities, to go to stores like that. But when they leave, that's what happens. But we have to understand that they leave because they're not getting enough business to support their retention. It's the same with Gorman's. I hated that Gorman's left, and I think a lot of young people went to Gorman's. So I would want to, one, try to retain more young people in our area. What we're seeing now is what we call a brain drain. And that's when the talent in your area goes to other areas to live. That's what's happening in Peoria. We're losing population and we're losing young people who are going off to college. And after they finish college, they're going to live somewhere else. The research says that if you go to college in your own state, you're more likely to stay in that state. If you go to college outside of your state, you're most likely not to come back to your home state. So, I think we have to get more college students, more of our students to go to college in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois colleges have to provide more opportunity, more incentives, more scholarships to attend Illinois colleges so that we can keep more young people here. So yes, I would find all kinds of ways. And I think part of that is talking to the young people. So as mayor, I want to have a young people advisory board that can help me to make some of those kind of leadership decisions on what can we do to keep young people interested, to attract them to our area. I don't know all those answers, but I think the young people do.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The Young People Advisory Board, do you think that would be made up of high school students, college students, or like a combination?
I would really like to see a combination because I think that they can support one another. Like I think that the high school students can really learn from some of the college students, and the college students can kind of model certain behaviors and really maybe be role models, for the younger students, and maybe even help them, mentor them. So I wouldn't want to separate a group like that. I would want it to be both.
And then another question, I think I mentioned this one in the email, and you kind of touched on this too, but a common phrase that I hear from my high school classmates is that there's nothing to do in Peoria. And I was wondering if you believe that there are accessible and safe places for high school students to connect, primarily outside of school. And if not, do you have plans to create these sort of spaces?
Sure. I think that you have to be more creative. There's lots of things that you can do in Peoria if you are creative. You should never, think there's nothing to do when you can be the creator of something to do. We have the most wonderful parks. Peoria has a wonderful park district with parks throughout the city. There's activities that young people can organize themselves or with others to do. There's different facilities too, that if students would organize certain events, they could actually sometimes use these facilities for free. Illinois Central College is your community college. And a lot of our services are available. Sometimes people don't know that, but they're available to different groups that simply ask, to use them. Our libraries are open to the public, not just to ICC students. I just think that it's a matter of organizing and helping to show young people what we do have. And maybe they can start organizing events. And with the help, I think of some other people that may be able to open doors of opportunity, like securing some space or something like that. So again, I don't think that they have to be bored.
Yeah.
And I think that we just have to find ways to be creative so that bored is a word that we don't even have to use anymore.
But basically the last thing that I have is maybe if there are any closing points or anything that you really want young voters to hear.
Sure. I'm just so excited that you took the time, to connect with me personally like this. I know we're not in the same room, but it kind of feels like we are. So, I just want to encourage young people to know that you have a bright future. Um, there's a lot of people out here who want to see you succeed. And I'm one of those people. I've worked with a lot of youth programs and designed a lot of youth programs over my career. And, those are the kinds of opportunities that I want to create for young people, even in the leadership position as a mayor. So just know that I am accessible and that I have your interests at heart.